on Facebook, what's going on Twitter, Instagrams, and all of the other joints where people check out my podcasts or my videos from. Yeah, welcome to the show. It's Friday night fights. Oh, I love them. Now we've been trying to get through these scuffles for quite a few days now, and it's been kind of tough, trying to slide in some other nonsense. But these scuffles are important because they show what's really in the mind and the heart of certain politicians up on the Capitol when they're examined, cross-examined, or when they bring people to Congress and you have good folks that are questioning these people that could influence our government, could influence our way of life. Once you start fleshing that out, once you put them in the ring and the bell goes ding, then you get to see their fighting style. See, up until these moments, people see a lot of these politicians, especially Democrats or folks who work within their dang on cabinet, shadowboxing. That's what you see. See, you see shadow boxing come out of Joe Biden when ain't nobody punching back. And then again, knowing Joe, I knocked myself out. He might just knock himself out. But all of them, Kamala Harris, all these Democrats who campaign and they get out there shadow boxing in front of the voters don't get a good depiction of who they really are. They get exposed under the spotlight. When they get in the ring, you know what Mighty Mike used to say, everybody comes in with a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's all it takes. One good punch in the mouth and everything goes out the window. And that's why I'm here. I like to see them get punched in the mouth because they're out there all the time. Yeah. Put them in the ring. See what you got. Call their bluff. I do that all the time. I could never let somebody get out there and boast without calling them right there. Do it. Let's see it right now. Nobody's ready for that type of scrutiny. When I was a high school teacher, young man told me his max was 250. He's boasting at the table in the morning amongst all his boys. And I'm just listening to it. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm the kind of guy, I just can't look and say, everybody thinks that's chocolate, but it's doo-doo, and I ain't gonna say nothing. I gotta do it. So in the middle of him boasting, I said, hey, man, now I ain't even have to get involved with this, y'all. They didn't involve me. I was just a bystander. But I couldn't let it go. I said, hey, man, you don't bench no 250. I know what a person looks like that can throw 250 pounds. Man, yes, I did. Man, yes, I did. I did. I said, you know what? He didn't think I was going to do this. I said, really? Okay, let's go to the gym right now. What? Right now? Yeah. Let's go to the gym right now. I said, and I guarantee you 250 pounds is going to sit on your chest. It ain't going to even bounce. No bounce. I said, it's going to sit on your chest, and then you're going to have to beg me to save your life. And that young man was like, let's go. And all the other young men went. We drew a big old crowd. I said, you ready? He said, yup. I lifted that bar off. It came down and said, didn't budge, laid into that chest, and I didn't take it off until he begged me to save his life. Those legs was just a squirming. He was trying to rock the bar side to side. Finally, he's like, all right, man, get it. I said, no. I need you to say, save my life, Mr. Ellerby. I ain't saying it. Okay. Finally, he said, no, sorry, save my life. I said, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to save your life, and I'm taking your pride with me, okay? It's now going to be in my trunk whenever you want to come see it or visit, but I can't touch it. Your pride belongs to me now. That's how you call people out. Say, look, man, if you are about this, your policies are that great, get in the ring. Let's do it. Let's see what it's all about. That man right now somewhere getting some counseling. I had to have Mr. Kevin save my life when I was 17, and I ain't got over it yet. Well, you shouldn't have went out there talking smack without being able to back it up. So whatever these folks are saying, we're going to go ahead and try to expose it in the ring. So I'm happy that you're here. Hit that like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other platforms. Those that have been giving to my super chat and to my Cash App and PayPal, y'all just have no idea how much that helps my situation. Big time. So thank you so much. Those that have been helping me out simply by participating in my channel, watching my videos, sharing my videos, all of that stuff. Thank you so much. And we'll go over the rest of that as we end. But first of all, let's get to it tonight. Let's see who we opening up with. Oh, me. Oh. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Throw your fist up and show some respect. in here, gorillas in here, gorillas in here, gorillas in here. All right, y'all. So now we got that out the way. We're gonna open up with a tag team moment on the five. Okay. Now, the five is kind of like the reverse of, say, The View, where they got one fake behind Republican on The View who is simply there to make the Republicans look bad by agreeing with all the rest of them. At least on the five, they do bring in a actual legitimate bleeding heart liberal, and the argument that the conservative makes always makes sense. Now, people will say, well, you're looking through it through a lens of, the fact you're a conservative. Well, I'm looking through it, the lens of common sense. I don't know what it is about the way conservatives see the world versus liberals. Now, I'm sure they feel just as strongly about their perception of what's going on as we do, but I think their argument and their perception lacks common sense. So when I look at what's going on, I don't look at it through the eyes of I'm a conservative. I don't look at it through the eyes of I'm a Republican voter. I look at it through the eyes of, if you are a human in the United States and you just observe this stuff, you can start discerning who is talking about something and making common sense versus who is just completely blinded or just throwing out talking points or is being manipulated by bigger entities. You start to see that stuff. And once you start seeing it, it goes beyond Republican or, Democrat. It just comes down to a smart citizen. So let's check out this battle that goes on for a few minutes on the five, where this liberal, I forget her name, gets in the ring and thinks she could take on four heavyweights. Starting off with Janine, because she's mad about what happened to Trump. So she's going to get in the ring and set it off. Let's see how the liberal responds. Ding!
I am so livid right now.
Me too.
I am furious. I have spent over 3 decades in a system that I believe in. I'm a believer. But today, I am no longer a believer. What you've got is a weaponized Department of Justice, Department of FBI, and CIA. We saw it from the time he came down that escalator.
Okay.
They started with a Russia collusion hoax, and we know that Hillary Clinton made it up. She even told a president, the Durham report. She told Biden and she told Obama she was going to do it to get rid of her email scandal. So what did they do? The FBI lied. They went to a FISA court judge. They lied 3 more times. They needed to get this guy. And then they violated the Fourth Amendment rights of one American and spied on a presidential candidate, and we now know it was all a hoax started by Hillary Clinton.
Whoa, I tell you, Jim, that right there was absolutely amazing. She came out and she established dominance. She presented a wonderful offensive attack. I don't see how her opponent is going to respond to that. I really don't. So let me get this straight, Janine. Janine feels like a lot of Americans hoodwinked a lot of conservatives who have common sense. We're saying, now, wait a minute now. Y'all are still rocking this whole belief that we're just seeing it and we're making this stuff up. And you know what? We're just butthurt from a loss. Everything that we have been seeing for the last 8 years is a shock to the system of how bad we have become in regards to not even making it discreet. Rather, the choices that are made for us as citizens are in our hands versus the government's hands. They launched this attack against Trump and against conservatives to the point where it became so blatantly clear that you're going, this is not, I believed in the country. At one point, I supported the FBI. I didn't think it was that corrupt. Trump unveiled just how corrupt the deep state is. And also, I guess, unlaunched a crazy gene across the country. People literally lost their minds thinking that Trump might win, and when he did win, I'm thinking it's going to stop. I was like, okay, finally he won. We get this over with. In fact, I almost retired, y'all. My last video, I came out, did a video. All right, now Trump won. I'm like, there's no need for me to continue making videos. And people are like, no, keep making videos. And I'm like, no, this is not my calling. This ain't my calling. Until I turned on the internets and I see folks still going crazy. And I'm like, they really believe that folks are getting sent back to Africa? They really believe that he's ripping babies? They really believed it. See, now I got to come out of early retirement. I saw with my own eyes how our whole country start unraveling, but it didn't just do it organically. These people that's supposed to be watching out for our country and trying to keep us unified systematically started unraveling the country. Systematically. We're able to see them doing it. And that's why we're so mad. That's why we know what this is all about right here. As they raided Trump's crib, then came up with this bootleg narrative that Trump now is perhaps the Espionage Act and 37,000 accounts of whatever. We see it. So does Janine. But the problem is by seeing it, it hurts because you're saying, this is not the country that I know and love. So Janine, she is going on the offense. She ain't coming out jabbing. She ain't trying to fill her out like, man, let me see what she got. She's coming out throwing those bolos.
But that wasn't enough. No. Then what we had is the FBI telling social media, you can expect that there's going to be Russian disinformation in the form of a Hunter Biden laptop. And that's when they interfered with the presidential election for the second time. And 51 CIA intelligence agents. So we've got the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA say, oh, this is Russian disinformation, when we know damn well it wasn't Russian disinformation.
Whoa. Now, how is her opponent going to respond to that? Look, she has a fail-proof plan. Her defense is amazing and her offense, y'all. How you gonna get around all of the stuff that we done seen happen to Trump from day one? All the things that she's mentioning, these people who are like, this is the big one, this is gonna get him. You don't take into account all of the other big ones that were supposed to get him. You don't take into account that not only were they the other big ones, because every one of them, the walls are closing in. We heard that every single time they went after him. And guess what? All you got to do is put him in the ring and expose the fact that they were fixing fights. So now we find out that all the major efforts to get him all revealed that it was politicians falsifying information or coordinating with our intelligence agencies along with the media. Every single one of the last times after the last time were all being plotted by these people. And then we find out and they act like they didn't have a hand in it. Nothing happened. And the next plot we come up with, y'all aren't supposed to recognize that as a plot. You're supposed to now look at this. It's justice. Unlike the last 5 or 10 times we tried and we found out that these guys were falsifying stuff. They were overstepping their boundaries. They were coordinating stuff. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to look at this as legit. And Janine is upset about it. So let's see if she can knock this lady out before she can even get with the rest of these guys.
And now what you've got is a loser prosecutor, Jack Smith, who's been slapped down by the United States Supreme Court in one of his prosecutions. That if I were a lawyer, I would give up my law license. I'd be so embarrassed hiding under a rock. He's the one who prosecuted John Edwards. He's got a political agenda, and this is all over a Presidential Records Act, which is a civil suit, a civil issue.
Jack in the box? Put that Jack back in that box. So she just went off on Jack in the box. So now we're starting to see the double standard that we've been mentioning, and everybody's going, there's no double standard. Trump's just unusually evil. He brought this all on himself. I mean, how could we overlook someone who's that evil? So when you start to ask people questions about, okay, if you're going to make that accusation that Trump's corrupt, he's evil, and he's dangerous to our democracy, let's go back to some real results as far as throughout his presidency. What policy was dangerous? What policy represented tyranny and a takeover and a violation of your social and your liberties and stuff like that? None. So everything that he did for us policy-wise was a blessing to you, except in your mind. You just couldn't see the blessing. You were overlooking it. Okay, so none of that happened. And then which ones did rules he broke or laws and stuff that he's guilty of? None of them? Okay, so there were just accusations that we found out were all put together by the fake news, by the Democrat Party, and by the deep state? Why are we, as conservatives, or just common sense people, able to draw these conclusions and build a pattern and see what they're up to, but others can't? That's the fascinating part about this experiment that's going on. What exempts us, y'all? I really want to know. I mean, I'm just thankful to be over on this side where I'm going, I see all of that, and y'all don't see that mess. I'm lucky, man. I'm blessed. So let's continue because here she is talking about Jack in that stinking box. That's where you need to remain.
And so what they do is they put out this narrative indictment. Oh, this is a story of wrongdoing, national defense. And let's put in espionage. We can kind of tie it into the Russian collusion. So people will say, oh, it could have been the Russians.
Yeah.
This is nonsense. And I want to know, how many documents were altered? How many documents were destroyed?
Oh.
Zero.
Oh.
But who destroyed 33,000 documents that she lied about over and over again? Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
She destroyed them. That was tampering with evidence. That was obstruction of justice. And did the DOJ, the FBI care? They didn't give a damn. But now they care. What are they so afraid of? Let him run for office. And if he loses, then that's the end of it. I hate a country that is akin to a third world country.
Good, man. This woman right now, oh, man. This is, oh, wait, Janine, hold on. I saw her picture in a magazine, and she was dope. You know what I mean? Man, that girl is poison. Only to the raggedy behind Democrats. So y'all hear her, she said she hate a country that's equivalent to a third world country. And that is how we see it. But we're selectively a third world country. See, when it comes down to how the deep state and these actors are controlling speech, unleashing certain folks on our society to tear it up like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, while gelling the other folks, gelling the folks that are the actual peaceful protesters, by surveilling us. See, these are elements of a third world country. By selectively allowing illegal immigrants to come across that border, but let them be all North Koreans and see how quickly they shut that border down. See, so we're selectively using third world country tactics to acquire more power and to stay in power and to control the people. But yet, we boast about having the best technology. We create the false image of freedom and a democracy, a republic. You guys can vote for whoever you want, except for Trump. See, they always brag about, hey, he's destroying our norms. He's breaking every norm. As they break every norm. So we all know that their basic style of fighting is just simply accusing your opponent of that which you are guilty of. So Janine is fired up about it. Now she done came out and showed her funky style. Let's see what this woman does, because she should just jump out the ring and bounce. But she's going to try to fight back.
This is a banana republic. When you indict one guy running for president and the guy who's doing it is some old geezer who says, you know what? I don't know anything about it. The day, by the way, the day that we finally get under threat of contempt of the head of the FBI, we finally get a 1023 from a credible FBI source, credible, $200,000 worth of credibility the FBI paid him, saying Joe took $5 million, Hunter took $5 million from Ukraine. And I'm not done yet.
Oh! Should we stop the fight? Should we stop this fight, y'all? I'm going to leave it up to the people. If you want me to stop this fight, say stop it. If not, say continue. Somebody said, nah. Y'all want to see the beatdown? Y'all want to see Janine finish dropping that hammer? She is hammer. Let's finish seeing her drop that hammer.
I'll tell you something else. This whole thing with Ukraine, why the heck is everybody going to Ukraine? Why do we put billions and billions and billions of dollars into Ukraine? What the heck is going on over there? Randy Weingarten going to check out education. And Joe Biden goes over there in January of 2018. And he says, if you don't get the prosecutor off that company where my son makes $80,000 a month, and if you don't get rid of him, I'm not going to give you the $1 billion that the United States promised you. Well, Joe, that's called pay to play. It's an organized criminal enterprise that we have as a president and his family.
Oh, man. Hey, man. Right here might be the best performance I've seen out of Janine. I mean, she's always, been solid. For the most part. You know what I'm saying? Right now, man, she must have been really hitting the road work. Got ripped up. Cardio's great. Speed with the hands. Sure, she is digging into this narrative. Digging. And I love it, y'all. I can see the comments right now. Y'all saying, yeah, let it continue, man. Let the beat down continue. She is laying out a case that covers everything from the rooter to the tutor. How in the world is this woman going to come back against that? She done built an amazing case talking about how Joe Biden's butt have been doing all of this crap. We got all of this evidence that's sitting out there, and the dang on FBI and the DOJ for some reason don't want that mess out. Why is that, guys? Why is that? Now, do you think if the roles were reversed, they'd be talking about sources and methods and stuff? They would have leaked that crap long time ago. If they'd had access to some documents like that they have on Joe, that mess would have leaked before Trump even became president. But yet, they're fighting our Republicans from getting our hands on that video and the document. Why not release it to the people? Huh? That's what I want to know. And that's what Janine is laying out. And so I'm thinking maybe her opponent might just slide out the ring quietly and just say, I don't want to respond to that. I lost. But instead, she's going to try to get in there and fight back.
They should be ashamed, and every American should be ashamed of what happened today.
Look at that. Yes, Jesse.
Well said. Jessica, I assume you agree with most of that?
Here it is. Poor Jessica. And you know the sad part, I've been watching her for years. She seems like a nice, gentle woodland creature. She seems like a very soft butterfly, warm and fuzzy on the inside. But she's naive. She's just, I hate to say it, liberalism, dumb. Now, according, in liberal standards, she's smart liberal. You know what I'm saying? She ain't the dumb, crazy, radical liberal, but she's just dumb enough to get out there and say stuff like what we're about to hear. And I'm like, Jessica, you got potential to use your noodles, but you're just failing. You're not using and living up to your potential. Let's see if these folks that come after her can beat that back into her. Beat some common sense back into her. Here she goes with her counter argument after just getting them blows by Judge Janine.
I was struck by a lot of what the judge just said, mostly the fact that she didn't address the documents that were panning across the screen, that there were documents found in the bathroom, in the shower, in the ballroom, in his bedroom, in his office, that there were documents pertaining to our nuclear programs, pertaining to our weaknesses and our allies' weaknesses.
Now, you see her style? You see her rebuttal? What she's using is somebody else's style. Meaning this, she is reading the things that the DOJ and that prosecutor has been telling the public. She don't know if that's real. If she don't know how many documents, what was in those boxes, she don't know any of that stuff. There's all those boxes, but yet I hear there's only like 200 actual documents. Why would they go in and start photographing all these boxes all over the place? They didn't label them. They didn't say these are actually, classified documents right here. They didn't do that. They want shock value. So they go around just, who knows what's in those boxes? It could be silverware, it could be whatever. But they want to go around and take a whole bunch of pictures. And how'd those pictures get out, y'all? That's what I want to know. Everything else is tight-lipped. Yeah, when we want to see what's up with Joe's documents and what kind of documents he took when he was a senator, they don't leak that. They don't go in and take pictures of hundreds and thousands of boxes of Joe's. They don't do that. They don't show up at Joe's crib with about 25 SWAT folks and busting in and then letting CNN come and get photos and stuff. So that's a lot of boxes for only 100 or 200 classified documents. So could it be that those boxes were taken pictures of for shock value? Just like all the charges? Because it sounds spooky when you say 31 charges and then slide in something like the Espionage Act too, y'all, and nuclear stuff. All of that sounds shocking and overwhelming. And we always find out that it's very underwhelming when we start unraveling it later. But not Jessica. She's reading her script.
What makes us vulnerable? Clearly a national security risk.
Ooh, look at that.
What has been proven time and time again when it comes to this particular case is that Donald Trump and all of his supporters have been lying to us about what happened. What? So first he went with everything was declassified because he's magic and he could look at things and they become declassified. Now he's on tape admitting the fact that he should.
Now she's trying to fight dirty. You see her try to hit Judge Janine and us below the belt. He's magic. He can look at things and just declassify. No, when he takes them, they become declassified. It's not like Joe, who probably had to smuggle his out in his drawers. It's not like that. If he takes them out of the White House and takes them wherever he lives, that automatically declassifies him. Okay? You can't get him, who's able to classify and declassify documents, and say, well, you know what? Even though you can do that and you have that power and that privilege, unlike anybody else in America, for some reason, your powers don't work when you take them. Bill Clinton's does. Barack Obama's does. Pence's does. You know, it all seems to just magically be declassified when they removed them. But not Trump. Not Trump. He got to make an announcement, y'all. He got to go through a process, even though he was the president. But according to Jessica, yeah, before he can remove these things, I need to talk to everybody about these classified documents. I'm going to declassify. But nobody else had to do that. And you think we're not able to see the double standard? Let's continue seeing her style, which ain't really a style. Okay, let's continue.
Showing people, Mark Meadows' team, when he's trying to do the book, a document that was still classified and that he knows that he doesn't have the power to declassify it anymore because he's no longer president. He said they were properly secured. I don't think
Did he take them after? See, this is stuff did he come back as a regular citizen after being the president and take them? Or did he take them while he was still president, which would declassify them? I mean, this is the stuff that she either is not aware of or she don't care. She's just simply like, well, you know what? That's what they're telling me to read off, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. So that's totally different. If he'd have snuck back in the White House after being removed and sneak it out, yeah, he ain't got no power to declassify him. But if they left with him while he was the president, what are you talking about, bubblehead?
the toilet is a skiff. Maybe I'm wrong.
Better than a Corvette.
Yeah.
Here you go. Misdirection. Misdirection.
Okay.
Just take. Yes, it is. Because no, it's not. Because in the B block, we'll talk about Ukraine, and then I can hear about Viktor Shokin all over again. He also said that he complied with everything. We know he flouted subpoenas, and now we know that he asked his lawyers to get rid of things.
Oh, sounds scary.
It seems, and yes, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm decently smart.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not decently nothing, Jessica. You have potential. Yes, but that liberalism that flows through your veins won't allow you to have common sense. It won't unleash your smartness. Because I'm sitting here listening to you make a dumb argument that's about to get obliviated. Now, they were hoping that Jessica would just listen to Judge Janine and take it to the chin and say pass when it comes to her. That's what they should. All right, Jessica, what do you think about? I'll pass. But no, she said, I'll take on all of yous. Take on all of yous. And she's going to get all of yous.
Some viewers don't necessarily think that, but I'm telling you, and a few of my teachers would agree, that this seems like a pretty clear case of obstruction. And Jonathan Turley's been on our air all day talking about this and saying that these charges are the darlings of what they're looking for because they are easy to prove, especially when you have pictures of them.
So if Hillary actually does get rid of things.
Here we go. This has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. No, it doesn't.
Whoa.
If you want to argue and you want to talk about, again, the difference between gross negligence and extremely careless, a lot of people have that conversation. But today, you're looking at boxes of classified documents strewn across a public place, also that were transported to another location, even to the point, whoever the family member who texts, I won't be able to fit all the boxes on the plane. Whatever shall we do?
Well, hot dang. Well, hot dang, look at Jessica. She's taking on all of them, y'all. She's swinging, even though she's getting jumped. She's swinging all over the place. Now, things are about to get real right after this. She thinks she's laying it down. She's feeling hopeful about her victory, talking about, I know it's not. Oh, no, it's not. These are totally different things, okay? When you're talking about this and then there's text messages and there's all of that. You hear her laying all that down? She thinks she's making progress, y'all. However, it's going to be short-lived.
But as the judge did say, these are presidential personal records, which he has the sole authority to make personal, just as the Bill Clinton sock drawer case proved, and just as an Obama judge ratified. That is the law. It's a civil situation. It's not criminal. So this is all nothing.
Well, wow, look at that, Jim. She just took a blow. Wow, in the middle of making progress, swinging wild, hoping she hit things, Jesse just blindsided her with the left hook. She's dazed. Now, let's just see if we could finish her off right here.
And I'll tell you why it does matter. And it's not just deflection to talk about Hillary Clinton and to talk about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. The fact that classified documents that were taken by Joe Biden when he was a senator ended up in his garage, where Hunter Biden, who has a lengthy, shady record of engaging with people like, I don't know, hookers who are all over his laptop, shady foreign figures, Chinese spies. There's no question about whether he was possibly allowing them into the house when Joe Biden wasn't around, just sitting in the garage, not to mention he was making these foreign deals with shady figures who did not have the interests of the United States in mind. They have an interest of how they can bribe and make sure that their interest, whether it's for the Chinese Communist Party or for Ukraine, to be...
Why do common sense look so beautiful? Man, I mean, it's like Jessica didn't have the ability to see the difference. Jessica wasn't able to say, no, wait a minute, what is different about what Joe Biden did versus Trump? How did Joe Biden skirt around breaking the law when he took those documents as a senator? And I'm sitting up here trying to justify why Trump is an exception to the rule because he took them when he was a president, which he was actually allowed to do. How can she explain how Joe Biden is not being either indicted or under investigation for removing those as a senator? Any single one of these people on TV, if they don't start with that first, and you're trying to defend Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton all on TV talking about it's different, it's different. If you don't start with that, they know they can't jump over that. So they try to ignore it. They try to pretend like, you know what, that's not a big deal that he took those boxes or documents when he was a senator. That is the biggest deal. If you ever want to see a slam dunk reason why an investigation should be started, you start with the obvious violation of the law. It's against the law to take them as a senator. That automatically puts him in the guilty category. Now he got to come to court and should have to prove why he didn't take them. What happened, Joe? Somebody set you up? Yeah, well, I don't know. This ain't my cocaine. I don't know where this heroin came from. They planted it on you. And yet Jessica acts like that's not the same. You're right. It's worse. Oh, but she ain't finished with her yet.
Changed in their favor. The fact is that Hillary Clinton had a digital box of an unclassified or an unsecure server with classified information on it as a Secretary of State after she left that office in her bathroom.
Jessica.
So if you want to talk about how this is all bad, sure, you should not mishandle classified information. But the double standard of justice in this country is becoming a serious problem, not for Donald Trump alone, but for everyday Americans who are looking at their federal government and going, it's being weaponized against people who disagree with the left. And we've seen that over and over and over again. And the Department of Justice puts out this indictment. It looks bad. They always do at the beginning. And then the narrative completely falls apart once there's a response days, weeks, months later from Trump and from the actual evidence that we see.
Woo-wee! Jessica needs to get out of there. Get your skinny little tail running. But you just gonna stay in there? You gonna try to stay in there and fight back? I mean, she's laying it down. She's basically spewing out what goes through the heads of all of us that have been observing this for the last several years. And her, and I'm gonna let Greg Gutfield clean it up, okay? They are talking straight from our brains, y'all. We all see this crap. And watch her lay that down, man, beautifully.
We'll see what happens on Tuesday. We'll see what happens with the trial. But when it comes to the credibility of DOJ, because they've gone through this list of witch hunts, as the president says, for years, 8 years of this, over and over again with different situations, they have no credibility left. So even if these things are true in the indictment, nobody's going to believe it. And that's a problem for American democracy, as the left would say.
It was a grand jury verdict.
Girl, you hear that? We live this. You can't simply trick us with this here. Okay? We done seen the scheme multiple times. And once you know a trick, you see the trick every time, y'all. You could never unsee it. I tell you right now, I got tricked in college. This guy lived down the hall from me. He had me tripping, man. This dude had a trick, and I'm sitting there like, man, how are you doing that? He would come into my room with a handkerchief, y'all. He didn't have no sleeves. His sleeves was rolled up, didn't have a watch on, no rings, nothing. He would take that handkerchief, lay it over his hand, take his thumb, stuff the handkerchief down inside his thumb, and then we'll go and show me both hands like that. And I'm looking like, what the heck? What just happened? Why am I not able to see the handkerchief? There's no such thing as magic. So it became my mission to find out, how is this man able to do that? He's showing me his hands. He didn't hide them quickly, nothing. And I'm going, I'm not crazy. I know there's no such thing as magic. I got to get to the bottom of this. When I finally figured out how this man was making that handkerchief disappear, I was so upset because it was so easy. But if you don't see it, you'll fall for it every single time. But once you see it, every time somebody tries it, you're going, I see it, which was a fake behind thumb. He had a fake thumb, the color of his real thumb, down in his hand before he laid the handkerchief over. And I'm sitting here looking at the handkerchief. I don't know he got the fake thumb down in there. And he sticks his real thumb down into the fake thumb while pushing the handkerchief into the fake thumb. Now, I didn't realize when he showed me his hands, that thumb was about an inch longer. All I'm looking for is the handkerchief. If that man did like this, and I'm like, this dude got a trick thumb on. And here I am looking for the handkerchief and not realizing, why is that thumb so big? Why is his thumb an inch or so longer than it used to be? Couldn't see it. Once I saw it, I'm like, how could I miss that? Every single time now, first thing I did was look straight at that thumb. Always, once you see it, you can never unsee it. So we've been seeing them trying to get us with the same trick for 8 years. And we're going, there it is right there. I see it. The big thumb, and you're trying to pretend, no, this trick is different. No, it's not. I can never unsee it. And so that's what she just laid out. She's like, we've been seeing this crap for 8 years. So even if you come with another trick, first thing we do is, where's the fake thumb? Where is that fake thumb? But Greg, since Jessica's trying to fight back with the last little breath she has, now he has to finish her.
So this is the same thing. You're acting as if and the jury wasn't full of Andy McCabe, Peter Strzok, and George Soros.
It's just an
They were
indictment.
a jury of his peers.
It's just an indictment. It doesn't mean anything. It hasn't even gone to trial.
Wait a minute, the grand jury's a jury of his peers?
Janine.
The people who were selected
Yeah,
for
well,
it.
you have a jury of your peers when they get to hear both sides.
Let's go, Greg.
Ooh,
Mr. Gutfeld.
Yes, thank you. That is my name. This isn't, I think most people understand this isn't about breaking laws. It's about breaking Trump. Even the charges are theatric. I mean, dozens of mini indictments, basically like they just chopped up a candy bar into little bite-sized snacks. Mm-hmm. It's meant to exhaust and overwhelm, not just Trump, but his supporters, right? It's meant to psychologically flood the zone up to the election to keep Trump's persuasive abilities at bay, to keep Trump's supporters occupied, to scare away donors, right?
Whoa. Now, Greg is coming with a different style. He is now exposing their strategy, their real game plan. So Jessica been training and all of that stuff, and he knows what her camp been training her to do. He knows the end game. That this is not about putting Trump in jail. This ain't about, they got a whole bunch of subplots and reasons why they're doing this. This is so strategic and it's obvious. Let's go ahead, blow up this thing, make it look real bad so people like Jessica get out there and say, look at all the indictments, look at all these big boxes piled up all over the place, and look at all this and this and that. For dramatic effect and to scare everybody away from Trump. This has multiple purposes. And if you're smart, you catch it, because Democrats always go too big. Always go too big. They can't go with something very, discreet, but they go with Russia collusion. Trump's a Russian agent, and he decided to become a Russian agent in his early 70s. He waited all of these years, gained all of the money, these businesses, all of that stuff, only to say, I've accomplished all of that. Now it's time for me to throw America under the bus and become a Russian agent. Now, it's very hard to use an American citizen who's already rich if you are a foreign actor. But if you're a foreign actor that wants influence in the United States, it's easy to use a greedy, stinking, should be getting paid $200 and something thousand a year politician. It's easy to get hold to them and say, man, that's all y'all make? That ain't nothing. Well, we got a lot of stuff we're trying to do over here in China. Boy, I tell you, man, this would be great if you could work with us on some policies, and who knows, might just tell you how to invest in certain things, might figure out ways to make it worth your while. It's easier to tempt people when they're on the level of politicians, but it's hard to manipulate a person that is already rich, never ask you for no favors, don't have the raggedy political past that Joe Biden and all of them have. He don't need no favors from these people. See, he got in there and they're like, well, how do we control this man? All right, anybody owe anybody favors? No? Okay, all right. Wow. I mean, does the Chinese have anything on them? No. All right, what about the Russians? No. Well, we gotta go to plan B. Cheat. Build something. Make something up. That's what they went with. And we saw that crap. And it was so grandiose only to find out it was a full-blown lie. So grandiose. Do you understand the level of that lie? That lie literally just ripped the country in half and basically accused Trump of being a traitor to his country that could have led to treason, which could have led to death. That's how big they went on the lie. They didn't start medium. They said, let's go straight to the top. Ran it back all throughout this whole time. They never can go with, let's go ahead and tamper that down a little bit. Let's stick with blase forward. No. Oh, okay, so let's go ahead and say that now Brett Kavanaugh was a gang rapist in high school. Yeah, that'll stick. That'll sound more believable. And when they come out with this crap, you go, what? See? Started from the bottom, now they're here. Started from the bottom, now they're all lies right here. They lies go straight to the top, man. Too much.
Yep. Nobody's going to want to give money if they think that he's going to go to jail. We know that this whole classified document stuff is a murky place. It's like everybody knows that. So this is like the choice to do this is definitely and only definitely a political one. The problem, though, is with this exhaustion strategy, you think it wears people down, but when you look at Trump supporters and Trump, it winds them up.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the Democrats or the media ever understood that concept, or the bigger concept, which is always their problem, the concept of going too far.
There it is, Greg. I was just saying that. What they're doing to us is what they tried to do to Rocky. And we're going, hey, come on, hit me harder. Come on. What is he doing? He's winning. That's what he's doing. They're doing to Trump like Ali had to do to George Foreman. Swinging wild on him, trying to knock him out. And the whole time. Same thing with us. Swinging wild on us, trying to knock us out. By talking about domestic terrorism, by throwing a whole bunch of folks in jail for J6, by surveilling us, by using the social media platforms to deem whatever we're saying as hate speech and concerning and all of this stuff. They're doing that, and it only makes us say, I'm encouraged. It makes me feel like we got to fight harder because we see how evil these people can be. And if the wrong leader gets in office, we're done. We have been privy now to see that this persecution doesn't just stop with Trump. I'm sitting there going, right now, the only man I can be sure that will fight against this is Trump. The rest of them, I can't be sure. I know they can talk a good game, but with Trump, I know I could be sure with that. Now, whatever he choices or people he picked when he gets in is going to be crucial. But I do think, based on the last 8 years, he have learned that these people who will smile in your face all the time, they want to take your place, they're backstabbers. I think he done learned a lot from that. And I think his support as he's built up these last 4 years or so, he's starting to see people he can trust, like Rudy Giuliani will ride and die with him. Michael Flynn would ride and die with him because they suffered the certain persecution. Carrie Lake would ride and die with him. These are people who I would put directly under me to make sure that these folks aren't going to stab me in the back a couple months into my presidency. And then the first thing he should do when he go in there is fire everybody. Get rid of FBI, all of that mess. Rip it down. And then put somebody right up under you that will go completely ham when it comes down to investigating all of these folks that's been involved with that, which we're going to hear a little bit from somebody about the Durham report in a minute. But we got to let my man Greg finish breaking down their motive and how it's backfiring on them.
They don't understand limits, right? So you have no limits in criminal justice reform. Where is that going? You have no limits on the woke gender nonsense. Right. So when you come out against the surgical mutilation of children, they accuse you of being transphobic because they don't understand the limit. They don't understand. If you say you want a border, you're all xenophobic because they don't understand the limit. The persecution of Trump and not the prosecution is based on the fact that they have no limit. They don't understand. Because they classified him as worse than Hitler. You can do anything. So you have leaks, piled up charges, an overwhelming antipathy toward Trump that is creating this relentless witch hunt, and you think that trotting out this stuff is going to alienate him? No.
Oh, Greg. And I wonder what Jessica's thinking over there. 1, don't you feel dumb? 2, look at you. 3, don't you ever make fun of me behind my back. I'll pick you up and throw you out. So now, Greg is saying That's the flaw in your style. Y'all don't see it. I don't know what these Democrats be thinking. I sit here and I watch all of these folks who hate Trump, and I say, you don't think we see what you're up to. Y'all went so grandiose and so big, and now we know that you guys have no governor. You won't stop. Your craziness has no bounds, okay? Here you are talking about, let's go ahead and do a car, let's steal a car. And you go, nah, man, forget that, man. Let's go after the Mona Lisa. What? I mean, can we start like small petty crime first and work our way up to them? Nah, man, right off grit. We're going after the Mona Lisa. Do you have a strategy for that? Nope. We'll figure it out as we go. Leaving all kind of evidence around and hoping nobody sees it. That's what these folks are doing. And we're saying, man, you could have maybe made me start going, okay, now, wait a minute. What's going on? Trump's Hollywood access tape? Yeah, that does kind of sound pretty, bad right there. What? Oh, the next morning, there's 12 women up in New York talking about Trump sexually assaulted me. And yet Trump's been in the public's eye for over 40-something years. We never heard one of these people come out. Now I'm starting to question it. You went straight from the bottom, straight to the top. Too much, no limit. They don't know how to temper their corruption and their craziness too. You went from gay marriage to now kids. Kids, they should be learning. And I'm going to see, no limits. So what that does is it also opens us up to a whole nother voting base, which is that I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but I got a common sense base that what these folks are saying and doing has no limits.
It just feeds their energy. When you're taking their candidate off the stage, do you think they're just going to walk away from that? You're taking their choice of president. 75 million people know what you're doing. It's not about Trump. It's about his voters.
Hey! Jessica needs to slide up under that desk and army crawl out of there right now. Right now. She's getting worn out by every single one of them. Because that's how we see it. See, and that is why all of these Republicans that even hate Trump can't really attack Trump like they would. They're sitting there going, ooh, attacking Trump while he's under all this persecution would immediately put me in the category of a rhino and a sellout. The base would go, now you know just how corrupt these people are over here, and you're supporting these narratives? Why do you think Lindsey Graham has been labeled a rhino forever? Dang on Mike Pence, rhino forever. I don't care what they tell us. I don't care how many sound bites they get. This sounds great. Rhino forever. Mitch McConnell, rhino forever. Liz Cheney, all of them folks who don't have a spine and a backbone, immediately I'm going, rhino forever. When you see what they're doing to Trump and you don't speak out against it, you water it down, you try to just play the passive role. Well, I mean, we're just going to let the system handle it. And no, we're sick of y'all saying, let the system handle it. Because the Democrats are going, yeah, let the system handle it. Thank you, because we assume you would respond this way. Because guess what? We're outside the system. We don't play within the system, and we know y'all do. So now we got to step outside the system, man. But still be in the system, meaning everything that we do and talk about should be justified by truth. We don't have to sit back and worry about receipts and being exposed on the internet for being a hypocrite or whatever. If you're doing it because of truth.
When you investigate Joe Biden, nobody cares about his voters. Nobody does. We know why they voted for Joe. They didn't like Trump. But you go after Trump, something different happens. You go after the people that support him. And when you arrest your rival, you think that people think the election in 2020 was corrupt? You think they're going to buy the results of this? They are worsening a divide, right? They're pouring salt on a wound because they don't care about the people. They only care about the politics. And that's all I got to say.
That's all you need to say. That is all you need to say. They don't care about the people. They care about the politics. They don't care if they rip the country in half. In fact, great. This way we can see how many of the folks that we got to go after that won't just willfully surrender their rights. Here's our guns. We're coming out with our hands up. We'll get to see how many folks that refuse to just obey. Well, we'll put this on our face forever. We'll go down there with our arm out and say, stick whatever in me. I'm ready. Let's see just how many folks are smart enough to see how corrupt we really are. Yeah. So dividing the country is okay with them. They need to see that. But guess what? We don't think that way. When I sit back and I think of an America that works for everybody, I don't think of one that would exclude liberals. I don't care what they believe. I don't care all that stuff. I mean, I'm not threatened by them. Nobody's threatened by them. So when we go after Joe, my thought is now let's direct our attention to all of the liberal voters. I could care less about them. I care about justice and that corrupt person who's been abusing his power for so long and using the power that we fund with all of these agencies, using that power and turning it on one side of the country. That's what I care about. I'm not doing this for the dang on left, the liberals. Those folks, they're already blew out. Many of them folks will never, ever be able to see what these people are really doing. Some of them are at that point beyond repair. You just got to go, man, this one's is damaged. Send it back. Send it back. But what I'm not doing is saying, I'm afraid of these people because they're going to rise up and then they're going to be threatening us because of white. I don't care about them. I care about the country. And even though they're doing everything ignorantly, because these are useful idiots over here to supporting these people, even though they're supporting those folks, I still would not support taking away their civil liberties. When I look at the radical left, I look at them as y'all might not see why we're doing this right now, but we actually doing it for not just us, but for you all too. So that you can walk around with vaginas on your head. So you could walk around showing up going, shame, shame, shame. So you could walk around spewing up lies that we're about to be unexistent. And we're doing that not just for us, but for you. But if we were like the Democrats, soon as we get power, we would say, you know what, going around talking about there's a genocide, that's just drumming up more dissent. And we need to censor these people on the internet. Running around talking about kids should be able to. That right there is dangerous to our democracy. We need to censor these people on the internet. That's what we would do if we were really worried about their voter base. But no, it's bigger than their base. We don't care about that mess, but they know that us as conservatives are clever enough to see what they're doing and would never just willfully tap out to their tyranny. I don't know about y'all, but I don't tap to tyranny. I ain't no tyranny tapper. Okay? Now I know I'm talking, but wait a minute. Here's some more of their craziness that they're pushing. No limits. Now they're going to jump in the ring with who? John Kennedy. Ding.
Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions.
Okay,
and
here we go.
This is really a question,
Some
not a
craziness on
suggestion.
display.
Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women.
I remember when I lost my mind. So now Kennedy has a different style. He comes out and, might lower you into a false sense of security because he's calm, the Southern accent, laid back. Makes you think that he just want to see you get better. He just wants you to, get out there and have a good time. That's it. When all he's doing is baiting you closer to knock you straight out. So now the lady with the dang on crazy eyes, with the circle glasses, here she is spewing out crazy stuff. Now, there's what? How many genders she just said? And there's a difference between sex and what? All right, here's craziness on display that the Democrats brought up there to defend their side of the argument.
That is their gender.
Okay. But I'm trying to understand, do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh.
Explain that just.
Please.
Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand.
I love it. I love his style. No, I'm just trying to understand. That's all. No. Let your resistance. You don't have to look at me as an enemy. Come closer so I can knock you out. Okay? That's his style. I'm just trying to understand. Now, just work with me here. Tell me then, how many are there? So she's saying there's three sexes, guys. Did y'all know that? Anybody know that?
Really confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology. Male,
What's that?
female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And what does
say
intersex mean?
is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the
Is
two.
there? We're conflating the two, guys. Listen to this smart lady, this dumb. tell us we're conflating the two. Now she's getting set up once again by Kennedy. So I guess this intersex right there is what? Now, what she is not acknowledging is that one, that is a very, very, very small group of people. That's outside the norm. It's an outlier. Okay. The reason we can recognize that that is an outlier is because we have a binary system. And when that breaks down, we say something must have went wrong in nature. But the second part of that, which they're never going to explain to you, is that there's never a person born with two fully functioning, separate genitalia, reproductive system intact, all of that, but have a real productive penis that you can actually, impregnate yourself. Usually, one or the other is underdeveloped, which not usually, always, which gives the doctor and the parents a good decision to make when the doctor brings this to their attention at birth. Okay, we have a fully developed penis and, everything's intact here. However, we got an anomaly going on. How do you want us to handle that? Well, which one of those items work better? All right, if the penis is intact and all of that stuff, then go ahead and do whatever procedure you do to make sure that my son develops and, be able to function. Same thing if they have more female parts developed. But what you don't say is, oh, hey, we got a fully developed vagina and penis. So this is a half man, half woman. This is something we never met. I mean, I don't know what to do with this. Let them grow up and be conflicted down the middle, or just eliminate them having the need of relationship with a man or a woman. They could have a relationship with themselves. So it's not like this creates a whole different category of humans, but they try to use this stupid argument to justify transgenderism. Unbelievable. So Kennedy, keep drawing her in so we can see the final knockout.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. You know why I love his style? He plays ignorant. I'm just trying to understand. And now he knows in his head that this is crazy. But he's just like, so wait, you're educating me. You're schooling me. I want you to school me and help me understand as I prepare to knock you out. Okay. Because he just wants to know. He's trying to understand.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing.
Because it's crazy?
Today I can tell you,
More
I talk
than
to young
five?
people
More than
that
five?
talk about non-binary as...
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying
But
to say.
are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more
That's all
than
he
five
wants.
genders?
That's all he
Well,
wants.
I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express
What
our
the
gender.
heck is she talking about? What the heck does pants have to do with your... See, this is what I'm saying. Craze has no limits. Craziness, their whole goal is to go as far as you allow it to go. Okay. If you go into an insane asylum and you don't have people in there with a governor, like, yo, the crazier you are, the more we have to constrict you. Do we need to put you in the white room with the big pads and the straight jacket on? Or can you come out and mingle amongst society without attacking folks, without barking at people and all that stuff? Don't make me put you back in that room now. So when you recognize craziness, you're supposed to say that right there is crazy. When society no longer can do that, but instead accept craziness as being sanity, then the whole society is insane. This lady's a part of that. But yet, people think the insanity only applies to this whole concept. Like, you can't be this insane and delusional, but yet still smart. Still a rational thinking person up here in Congress, educated, using big terms and fancy concepts, but fully embrace this concept. Something is wrong. There's a glitch in the system. You can't tell me everything else is normal, but I am just crazy in this one category. So it puts you into one of two categories. Either I know this is garbage, but I'm evil enough to help implement this horrific doctrine in our society, or I don't know it's garbage. I 100% believe that this is true, but I'm just functional enough to deceive a lot of people into thinking that I'm a highly educated person that has the authority to speak on these matters. One of the two, but you're still crazy. Now you're that evil genius. You're that person that's saying he's a mad scientist. So is this person with those Hitler glasses, those Nazi glasses right there, is she an insane genius? Let's see.
More than
Are
five
expansive.
genders. Are there more than five?
Is there
I
more
wouldn't
than five?
subject myself to naming how many
Oh,
genders there are, but
why
what
not?
I can say is
Is there
that
an
gender is a
infinite
reflection.
number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders.
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And
Ooh, so they never want to get put in a binary situation where they have to make a call. They are not able to just make a definitive call and say, you know what? There's only five, only two. You know why? Because they know this is crazy. And for those that support this crap, that want to get crazier, if you limit them to five genders, you limit their craziness. If she was to come out and say, there's only five, then what happens when the person says, wait a minute, now I'm peanut butter or I'm a snowball gender? Now you got to sit there and go, okay, let's go ahead and increase it. Now there's six. What about me? My gender's not listed in the six. Okay, all right, fine. We got a seventh. And the list goes on and on and on, which should let you know that this woman is supporting something crazy, which either makes her crazy or evil. One of the two. So here she is talking about some, well, I think there's lots of gender and people can make it up.
you can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities.
Yeah, so get legislation out of it, period. Leave it up to science and common sense. That's what you're doing. You shouldn't be jumping in this. What are you doing? Let the crazy people run around believing they're whatever. But you encourage the crazy people when you start talking about, well, the rest of society has to believe this craziness. That's where society bucks up against you. We wouldn't be having these discussions if they weren't trying to legislate this, if they weren't trying to bully the rest of society into accepting that. You know how many crazy folks I've walked past and saw them in the street dancing to music only in their head? I didn't get mad and go up to them, stop that, crazy man, stop that, cut that out. I simply looked, chuckled a bit, and kept moving. But when you start seeing politicians say everybody got to start dancing in the streets, okay, to music that's in your head, then I'm going, so you want me to be crazy now? That's what you want. And I'm sorry, I can't do that. Unreal.
Sorry.
Let's get back to athletics.
Uh-oh.
I think I understand what you're saying. There are three sexes,
Three sexes.
male, female, and intersex.
Right.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl.
Now, here's the trap he's been laying the whole time, guys. He's going to put her in a position to have to offend everybody who's crazy or appear crazy to everybody who is sane. Y'all ready for this? Let's see which one she picks.
Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What?
What's your real world experience?
Now, you see her trying to give him a slip? You see her try to slide out of that? Because now he done warmed up in the ring. Playtime's over. Now he's going after them ribs, those kidneys. And she talking about, well, I'm not a physician. That's always their default. They are an authority to speak on gender and multiple and infinite genders, but you can't speak on the obvious. You're sitting back talking about imaginary stuff, but for some reason, stuff that is black and white, right there in the face, now all of a sudden, you can't speak on that. Where I can bring in a kid and say, do you think this man right here should be able to play in the same sport as this girl? They say, no, because men and women are different. Men are stronger and faster, and then women are... They would be able to pick that up, but this lady, she's like, I got to make a fool of myself right now, but I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can slide this out there, and Kennedy just let it go.
It depends. I mean, there's some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some.
Now, first of all, maybe she's talking about back in the day. Maybe she ran track back in the day. Right about now, I'm thinking about 98% of the men, whether they're old and disabled, might be able to smoke her. She don't look like she got a lot of athleticism in her. But even with that being said, she's not focusing on average. Just like people born with two genitalia, it is very, very unique to see a man that limited in his physical ability to where a woman could dominate him. And then you put it on the same level as, okay, as we move up in competition, we eliminate all the folks who never could even get to that level. All of those folks are just people who watched stuff and played as a kid and went out to the playground and stuff. We're not talking about that. We're talking about as you start to weed out the best of the best in both categories and go up that chain. Now, if I'm a golfer, number one golfer as a man, yes, I'm not going to get in the Olympics and beat the fastest woman. But if I'm a sprinter, a male sprinter in the Olympics versus a female sprinter in the Olympics, and this is what she's trying to slide around. She's trying to make it seem like, well, I mean, there's so many variations. It could be anyway. We all know what's going on here. We're not talking about just regular humans walking around. We're talking about folks that have channeled their energy into competitive sports. Do you think there's a difference?
That women
You
and some
don't
that are
believe
short.
that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female?
See? She's like, I'm committed to the craziness. Show me how many wives have beat up their husband versus how many husbands have beat up their wife. Show me that. Show me the overwhelming amount of sports that are dominated by women that have beat men on the same level or even under that level. They're competitive men. Show me that. That's what I want to know. See, show me the overwhelming amount of transgender men who are really women going through their transition and jumping over there in men's sports. None of those. Why aren't they doing that? They're man now, right? Shouldn't they immediately acquire all of the physical differences that men have? Just because in their head they think that. And they got a fake penis put on and all of that stuff, and they're taking hormones. What do you mean their lungs don't grow? What do you mean their voice box doesn't expand? What do you mean their hands don't widen? What do you mean their bones don't become more denser? Why is that? They transitioned, didn't they? It should be equal now. This is the argument that should blow up this stupidity.
Male members of the NBA do you see?
Oh,
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case.
now she's about to get slapped by the other lady. The other lady who's in this ring is like, did she just say that crap? She's talking about Venus or Serena, and she's talking about men who think they can beat her and with no data. I mean, they wouldn't even, that's not the case. They couldn't score a point. How do you know that? And who are the men who's saying this? Is it Yeoman Johnson, who sits around drinking beer and his stomach's so far out he can't see his feet? Is that him? Or are these men competitive tennis players that aren't that great in the males competition, but are good enough to beat her tail, Serena's tail? Now, I'm not mad at Serena because I saw the video where Serena was playing against men. Couldn't even return her serve. Couldn't return her serve. But here she is trying to make it seem like all of these men are out there that, hey man, I ain't never played tennis, but I think I get in there and at least score a point on her. We're not talking about those dudes. She would eliminate those guys based on the fact that she's skilled. She's a professional. If a dude don't play tennis, what would make him think he can get in there and score on Serena? But she's just making it seem like these are just guys sitting around drinking beer. Just, I bet you I get in there and score a point on her. Unreal. So now she needs to get beat down by the other lady.
Stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women.
Ooh. I love this lady right here. Both Venus and Serena got beat by 200 and how many men? Oh, okay. Yeah. Who's ranked like 200 and something? Yeah. How did that happen? I mean, they're the top of the chain. They should be able to get in there and compete against the top men, right? But they got beat by all those guys?
My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him.
Okay. That means you should be able to beat
He
him.
could kick my butt any day of the week.
What?
Without trying.
Okay.
Wow. Now that just blows that stupid lady's argument right out the water because she didn't decide to look at those stats and stuff. She ain't one. She thought she'd just throw that out there to ignorant people and they say, that's a good point. She didn't want to put it in context, all of that stuff. Now, I've seen this happen before, guys. A woman who is at the top in her particular field, depending on what it is, if it's based on skill or is it based on power, strength, and so on and so forth, you'll find that most likely a man who don't know anything about that, if it's all based on strength and aggressiveness, could probably get in and dominate. There's women in the UFC right now, might be married. The husband, if he's just a construction worker, strong hands, decently in shape, she's not gonna be able to hold him in a dang on rear naked choke. She might have all the skills in the world, but that testosterone makes a big difference. Big difference. Reason I got into mixed martial arts is when I was a teacher, one of the students was involved in mixed martial art. Now I'm at the biggest I've ever been. I'm 230 pounds of all muscle, benching 400 pounds. And this young boy is up here laying on his back in the gym. How people fight off their back, jiu-jitsu and all of that stuff. Roman, Grecian jiu-jitsu. I see this kid laying on his back and I'm like, man, I would get out there and choke you. No, okay, come on. I jump down there, grab that kid around his neck. Next thing you know, I'm in an arm bar. Now the kids are watching this, y'all. You think I'm gonna let this kid choke me out in front of all the other kids? I was a hero. They looked at me like I was undefeatable. Now I'm sitting here questioning, should I tap? This young boy got me in an arm bar and I don't even know how I got there. Don't even know how I got there. You know what got me out of that arm bar? It wasn't skill. It was pure man strength. He did not possess the same amount of strength, bulk, muscle that I had. I had to pull this dude up in the air and slam him down, dang on it, to make him release me. But if it wasn't for the difference in strength, I would have been like, okay. Same thing. Strength makes a difference. But not to this lady. You should be all equal. Now she got to get embarrassed.
I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
He tried.
I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility.
You do.
I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves.
Yeah, but don't let yourself.
And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business.
Yeah.
But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights.
Wow.
And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females.
There you go.
It makes me wonder about all your testimony.
Oh, boy, I tell you, man. So he knocked her out with a smile on his face. He's sitting back like Mike Tyson used to do dudes after he knock him out. Run over and pick him up, help him up, and start. I don't want your hugs. You just knocked me out. Now you did real good. You tried, I mean, it's not your fault that you just suck. Gave him the hug like, hey, you're right. Your credibility is shot when you come in there and you can't recognize the basic, obvious thing that's right in your face. If you can't just swallow all of that craze enough to say, yes, men and women are different, then we can't talk anymore after that. Now I got to become a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Now I'm evaluating, your sanity. I'm like, so what makes you think that? What are you writing? Nothing. I just want to know what makes you think that. You sure you're not writing about me? No. Subject cannot recognize the obvious. That's how I feel. We can't talk anymore after that. So guys, we done went an hour and 15 minutes. We ain't even got to, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all see the fights that's coming up. Y'all see that? This one right here is gonna be good. That's gonna be a good one. All right, that's the next fight. And then we're gonna end with this one. Y'all know that one right there. Oh man. So those are the two fights that we're gonna go ahead and pick up on because those are worth a watch. So hopefully y'all have a great weekend. Get yourselves ready for the weekend so you can be ready to tackle some more nonsense next week. I may try to slide in another show this weekend. Most likely I will, maybe even tomorrow. You got to keep your ear to the streets. Sorry for all of those who unfortunately aren't getting notifications. If you don't get notifications, you can always send a reaction to YouTube and say, I am subscribed to Kevin's Corner. However, I am missing live shows or getting late notifications. Why? Please update your software so that I get one every time, especially if you've clicked the button for all notifications and you're not getting all the notifications. Sounds like false advertisement to me. That's all I'm just saying. If I want to be notified all the time, then I click that button. I should be going, great. I'm getting the notifications all the time. In fact, I'm thinking about launching a little campaign that maybe some of y'all could even help me out with. Back in the day, y'all remember back in the day before YouTube became tyrannical, my videos, 500,000, some of them had 700,000 and all of that. I often get inbox with people saying, Kev, I didn't even know you were still making videos. There were a plethora of people who used to watch the show that they just took me off quietly, their feed or whatever. And the people just, if they ain't in your face, you might forget. So I'm going to go back through some of those videos where it was hundreds of thousands of views plus comments all out the wazoo and start just inboxing those people right under their comment and say, hey, just to let you know, I'm still in business. I'm still in business. We might be able to do it together. Y'all break up into sections. Here's the video we're looking at, guys. All these views. Help me out by saying, just in case you don't know, Kevin from Kevin's Corner is still making videos. Check to make sure you're still subscribed. I guarantee you some of those people will go, wow, I just got a message on it. I didn't even know. I forgot Kev was even making videos. He ain't popped up on my feed in forever. So we can jumpstart this because it's amazing that you go from 500,000 and I'm upset back in the day if I hit 30,000 views. I'm like, 30,000? That's it? To then a couple hundred, maybe 2,000. And I'm going, that's it? Happy if I hit 5? That's how they reset you in your mind. Lower your expectation. Get you down there and say, I'm just thankful to hit 5,000. Whereas before I would be insulted. So it's a bunch of crap going on, guys. A bunch of crap. But thank y'all for just supporting. Make sure your notifications are set to all. Follow me on the other platforms just in case. And then I'm gonna go find my most popular video. Next time when I come back on, I'm gonna let y'all know which video it is. Maybe we can post the link of that video during the chat. And those that volunteer and want to just help spread that message for all of those who, for whatever reason, probably think Kev must have, or I thought I was unsubscribed. Yeah, we do that. That's in your leisure time. In your leisure time. So God bless y'all. God bless America. And don't forget, if you want to participate in a super chat or my support the channel through my Cash App, my PayPal, please feel free to do that. Someone sent me something wonderful in my PayPal yesterday. I want to just say thank you so much. And that's for everybody. Regardless of how small the sacrifice is or how large it is, it's a sacrifice, which I'm thankful for. Okay. See y'all next time in Kev's Corner. Like real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. There's some kings in the building. Gorillas in here. Gorilla in here. Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.